How we going, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin and welcome to day number 1 of Samurai season. I put a video out a few days ago, about a week ago now, putting the idea out there. And yeah, seems like people wanted to see it. So here we go. Starting off then, we've got a film review. I'll be first off working my way through this box set, the Akira Kurosawa collection. And last night I watched Seven Samurai for the first time. I remember it being on telly 100 years ago. I think I borrowed it off a mate once as well. I can't remember. I remember watching it before, and I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't very. It wasn't American Ninja 4, so it kind of went over my head, most of it. I didn't really appreciate it. It wasn't really, mature enough, I suppose. But I watched it last night. And of course, Akira Kurosawa is well regarded as a director. And it'll be good to start off with these 5 films. So we've got Seven Samurai, which I'm going to talk about now. Throne of Blood is coming up next. And Throne of Blood apparently is actually an adaptation, really, of, is it Macbeth or Hamlet? I'll correct that when I actually review it. But I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, Seven Samurai. What a film. It was 2.5 hours long. It was released in 1954. And yeah, I just absorbed it. I fell into it. It was brilliant. I mean, watching that, it's quite a contrast between watching Seven Samurai last night and watching that Shogun series that's on Disney at the moment. I know that was originally in the 70s or 80s as well. My dad's got the box set of the original series, but it's funny watching that and how like the colours and the materials, like the samurai, they wear these beautiful woven thick materials and with these real blazing colours and intricate patterns. And here, like, everyone's just basically got a sheet wrapped around them in a way, and it's dirty, like on the arse where they're sitting on the floor, or dirty, like it's scuffed on the shoulders, and it was quite funny seeing the contrast between the two. This is a lot more realistic and a lot more gritty. There's so many themes in the film as well, which are still relevant today, and I think with what's coming, I think you say certain things. Oh, that'll never happen. It's like, well, never happened. What do you mean? It's happened before. It's already happened. But we'll get into that as I go into it. So I guess I'll go through the plot and then I'll just pick stuff up as I go through it. Things I remember about the film and give a conclusion at the end. So it's set in a period of Japan where there's a lot of civil wars going on, and there is no law. There certainly isn't an a governing body, a governing body enforcing the law, making sure everything's run properly and the weak are protected. But so there's roaming gangs of bandits, and it's funny, isn't it? Because you can set this in the future and it'll be Mad Max, and that you go 400 years in history, more or less the same story. That's what I'm getting at. There isn't a lot of difference really when you think about it between Seven Samurai and Mad Max. It's the same. So yeah, the system's broken down and there's roaming groups of bandits, and they come across a farming community and they're going to ransack this village, and they pause and go, well, there's no point in doing it yet. We'll come back in a couple of months when the harvest is full, and then we can take their rice. So let's let them grow the rice and then we'll just come and take it at the end. And it turns out someone working in the fields has hidden and overheard it. So he goes back to the village and warns them. And they, they're scared, they're defeated. What do we do? Some people go, well, we can't fight them, so we might as well just resist them and beg for their mercy. Well, they're not just going to take the rice. What are they going to do with the women? And it goes on and on. And a couple of them get the idea. Well, we're going to have to hire help. And how do we hire people? We haven't got anything to pay them with. And it goes on, and bit by bit they hire a couple of samurai at a time, and it builds up a team of 7. And you've got 7 very versatile, very complex wave of characters. The group's kind of split really into sort of young. So you've got the sort of young, naive, wet behind the ears youngsters. You've got people that want to be a samurai but aren't yet, and want they're sort of idealistic about it. They want the honor that comes with it. And then you've got sort of the elder, your Obi-Wan Kenobi style elder samurai who's wise. But then you've got another older one that's a bit weary and a bit world weary. And then you've got the one in the middle, the charismatic one that's on all the posters, and he's the wild child in the group. He's a warrior that's alcoholic, and he's a bit of a hothead, and you'll find out more about him as the story goes on. And it's that universal theme, because I wanted to explore really the samurai genre off of the back of westerns, because so many of the classic westerns were based on old samurai films. I mean, just looking at this now, Yojimbo, A Fistful of Dollars, starring Clint Eastwood, that is pretty much a shot-for-shot remake of Yojimbo. Seven Samurai, which we're talking about now, went on to influence The Magnificent Seven, and the overarching theme of the Western, and it's looking like it's the overarching theme of the samurai story, is in order to have a peaceful society, you need people that are violent. You still, when violence is the last resort, but when all else fails, that's all there is. And obviously, if everyone's violent, then there is no society. The society has to be peaceful, but you will need violent people in that peaceful society in order to protect from outside. Where am I going with this? From outside invaders, really. It's all well and good you being peaceful, but if this person over here isn't, you're going to get eaten, devoured. So you have to learn violence in order to defend oneself. But not everyone can be a warrior. Not everyone's cut out to be a warrior. Not everyone is violent. So you need these people in place. And not that. So this is what the samurais are for in the samurai films. This is what the gunslinger is in the Western. This is who Shane is in Shane. This is who the man with no name is, and so on and so forth. He walks into the town, he sees a problem, there's corruption or there's an invading gang, and he puts it all right and then goes off into the sunset with not much reward. And that seems like the Roman samurai is the same thing. So there's that. And while they're in the village, they start teaching the people the basic forms of combat anyway. They cut out bamboo spears. They're teaching them, and they quote things from the Art of War. I think one of the lessons from it as well is one of the elder guys says, you're I can't quote it, but I'm paraphrasing it. But basically, it's funny because the village hire these samurai in a panic, but when the group don't turn up straight away, they think the threat has passed. So they start going, well, these guys are here. They're ordering us around. They're getting treated specially when, I can look after myself. And they're going, why are we learning to defend these houses when no one's defending our house? And the guy sort of says, you know, you've got 3 houses over there. If these houses get destroyed, your houses are going regardless. So we need to stick together. And he says the collective defense protects the individual. Individual defense destroys the individual. And that's so much what's wrong with society today, is that we're all individualistic. We've not got communities. We've not got a solid, as much as we like to say, you know, we praise ourselves about diversity and we're so globalistic and, you know, but there's nothing really. All of us are sort of getting more and more diluted, and that's why there's so much loneliness and depression in the world, because people are actually have very lonely existences because we're all atomized. And you know, this is written about in books like Bowling Alone and things like that. And yeah, like, you know, say something like COVID happens again. What would happen if there was just, you know, when the government actually does collapse, goes bankrupt, and there are no police or something, you are going to have roaming gangs. This is where mafias come from, you know. But yeah, there's a great dynamic as well between the characters. There's a one swordsman. It's funny because the swordsman always has like the sword on their belt or on their waist. This guy just carries his sword on his shoulder. And the sword is, he doesn't like, you know, so he's got it here and he can just pull the sword out. No, the sword's like up here and he's got it, you know. And when they're putting the team together, they sort of have a guy hiding behind a door and they jumps out at them. And then, you know, how he reacts is kind of like they're tested as soon as they walk through the door, basically. And, you know, when they get their sword out, they're ready to fight. They go, no, look, we're sorry. We just wanted to see what you were about. You know, we wanted to see how quick you'd react. And then they'd say about joining the team. And then this guy comes in, apparently he's a samurai, but he's drunk, and they're looking at each other going, a samurai wouldn't get drunk. And he turns up and they're hiding behind the door. He walks in and bang, they just get him. And he's like knocked out, and he's like, which one of you did that? And but he's the sort of middle influence in it all, really, because he sees things from different perspectives, which we'll get into as the story goes on. But he's, you know, I can't remember what the guy's character's name is now, Rikorai or something like that. I mean, this series is going to be worth watching just to watch me butcher the names alone. But he's kind of like the hothead and the least disciplined in the group, but in a lot of ways he comes out with the most truth and he's the most realistic. And you know, he's constantly arguing with people, but then he's great with the kids. When he's got the children in the village, he entertains them, and the kids love him. He's pulling faces with them. He's acting like a strict disciplinarian, disciplinarian. That's not a word, is it? But you know what I'm talking about. And then he'll go like, right, got it, and they, you know, scares the kids, but they love him. And there comes to this one scene where they find samurai armor hidden in a house, and a samurai doesn't want to wear it because it's it's dishonorable to. That's the thing as well. I'm going off on one there. The way of the samurai and this, you know, this society, it's got different caste systems, and it's all very based on. They're very big on honor, to live an honorable life, and dishonor in public is suicide. There's an episode in the first episode in Shogun. A man just speaks out of turn in a meeting, and he has to basically kill his own. He has to kill his own family, including his child, and then kill himself to basically save face. You know, there's a lot of this sort of stuff going on, and so they find this armor, and one of the samurai warriors don't want to wear it because it's dishonoring a dead samurai. And then they sort of said something about like it's a bit sneaky that the farmers had hid it. And then this is when this is him here on the cover, and he sort of goes like, "What? Would you think farmers are angels then? You know, that you'll ask these people for rice, they'll tell you they haven't got any. They claim poverty, but they're hiding all sorts of stuff. And you know, they'll have rice, they'll have beans, salt, wealth, all hidden under the floor while claiming poverty. And yeah, they you know, and then he sort of goes, but who made them this way? you samurais made them this way, because samurais are no different to the bandits that we're being hired to protect them from. Because you look down on peasants and farmers. You walk around enjoying celebrity lifestyle, demanding untold money to protect people, but you'll turn a village over and take the women and take all the plunder just as quick, and it's a great little speech. And then the elder samurai goes, because there's suspicion that he is a samurai in the first place. And he goes, you're the son of a farmer, aren't you? And yeah, that's the dynamic with that. So there's loads of it's a whole host of different characters. Oh, there's one as well that's quite modest and quiet. There's an awesome scene. So you've got one samurai he's not a fully fledged samurai yet, and he wants a master. He wants someone to teach him. And the older guy he's like, I don't teach anyone. I'm just a ronin. I'm not. And then there's another one who's just quiet and modest, but he's like, he'll just behead you in a second. But he doesn't. He's just calm and quiet. And there's a great scene when the battle does kick off in the end. They cotton on that these bandits have got guns. And they're like, we need to get a gun off of one of them. And this guy just goes, leave it to me. And he just walks into the darkness at night. And there's a couple of fires that they've set. And then the scene just switches from like night to day, and the fires have died down, and it's all misty and foggy and smoky. And then someone's coming, and they get ready, and there's just this figure in the shadows, and it's him, and he's just got a gun, and he just hands it to one who has killed two, and then just walks off and goes to sleep. And yeah, you've not seen anything, but you just know this guy's a badass. And yeah, so again, there's so many different characters with an overarching theme. And when it comes to the final battle as well, I mean, some of the scenes where the action, again, it's a slow burn, but it's I suppose it gets a lot, it would probably be a bit more crazy now with with more modern films and kung fu films, and it'll probably be a bit more action based if they remade the film now. More elaborate action scenes, and but the funny thing is, some of these scenes, like the people that go flying off the horses and the stuff that goes on, it's like, right, no way would this be allowed today. When someone goes flying across the screen, like this mic's about to. That's happened. There must have been injuries in this. And there's this one bit where this guy just goes flying off this horse. A bit like, do you remember the chase at the end of, or the end, the main climax of Mad Max 2, when this guy just catapults, like goes spinning through the air off this truck? It's like, yeah, that actually happens. No way would that happen now. Yeah, that was pretty cool to see. It's like, this is a piece of history here. Like, you've got to watch these old films, because the stories behind the making of them, and they are just these little snippets of history. Like, even like the old black and white Nosferatu or something like that. It's just amazing how these films were made. And yeah, that there wasn't the tricks of the trade that we have now, but yeah, the battle happens, and it's some great scenes, and then bit by bit the samurais die off one by one, and then the bandits eventually get beaten, and the village is protected. And then there's this sort of festival at the end, where the village are dancing, and they're playing this music and they're playing this song, but they're sort of replanting everything whilst carrying out this dance and song, and the celebrations going on. And there's this beautiful sort of melancholy ending where the samurais are buried on a hill, and you see like the sort of small hill of soil with the sword marked. The sword is kind of like the gravestone, really. Like, it's a marked where they're buried, and the samurais looking at the thing, and he just says that, you know, today is their victory, not ours. And it kind of alludes to like the samurai's life is a, you know, the task is a thankless one. The protection, yeah, it is a pretty much thankless task. You'll do your job, and then that'll be that, and you'll just move on. And so there's a happy, upbeat, but yet melancholy ending, really. But the whole film's like that. The whole film's kind of melancholy, with comedy bits speckled in all through it. There's a lot of humour in the film, and a bit like there's a scene. I want to call him Ricardo, Ricci. I can't pronounce his name, but this guy, the one that's always like gets stuck in and gets mud on his face. There's a bit where he's trying to ride a horse, and they're like, "Be careful," and he's like, "No, I know what I'm doing." And he rides around this field and goes behind this house, and then so the whole him on the horse goes behind the house, and then the other side of the house, the horse is on it. It's just on his own, and then he comes running, like limping after it. You know, loads of funny things like that. But yeah, it was a joy to watch. It really was. It was really good. And so if this is 1954, I think this is a good template to lay down, really. And this is the standard that all the rest of the films will be measured against. I think this is the oldest one. I'm pretty sure it is. I've got the Samurai trilogy of Musashi. The first film of this is actually 1954, so I don't know whether to watch these alongside each other or just get this done, then switch to that. I'm not sure. Same goes for the books, really. I've got the Musashi book. Now this looks like a bit of a mountain to climb. I've got a mountain to climb anyway, doing this whole season. But yeah, I mean, that is very small text, small print, and we're looking at 1,000 pages here, guys. I'm a disciplined reader. Like, I'm a slow reader, but I am disciplined. 970 pages. Yeah. So, do I start this now and just review it at the end? I was thinking I might start this one first, because I reckon I could bang this one out in a week. Because it's about 250 pages, but it's like that, you know. So I reckon if I start this today, I could at the end of the week review that, and then that's one book done whilst I'm doing the films. I mean, because I'm going to be doing the mangas as well, and I've got the Book of the Five Rings to do, so I'm not sure whether to do that one last. I'll do this one first, just so at least I know this will get finished and we can review it quickly. So, right, I think I'll stick with the Kurosawa films first, and then that's done, and then I'll do the Samurai trilogy next. Then I'll move on to the Zatoichi films. I'm still to and fro about getting that expensive box set. I'll watch these ones first and see how I go. I've got a few other films back there to do. Right, so what I need you to do, folks, this is where you come in. Let me know what you think. Have you seen The Seven Samurai? Let me know your thoughts on the film. What do you think of Akira Kurosawa? Is there anything cool about the film that I left out? Some little trivia pieces, maybe. But most importantly, what is there a film that you think I should add to this season? I've got 8, 16, 17, yeah, probably about 20 films to get through. But yeah, have you got a samurai film that you recommend that I should add to the list? And if you want to know the list, go and watch the previous video where I do go through them all. So yeah, sorry if this has been a bit of a mess. It will tidy itself up as the series goes on. But yeah, Seven Samurai is a classic. You owe it to yourself to watch it. It's a beautiful film. Beautiful. That's another thing as well. Beautifully shot. I mean, some of the imagery. It's just something about old films that you just don't get today. It's, you know, it's something. Yeah, just watch old films, guys. Like, you really don't. We really sell ourselves short. You know, we think of old films and new films like Batman. like the old Adam West Batman and now the Christian Bale Batman and everything's just automatically better. No, for the films have got a lot better budget wise, and we can, today we can sink the Titanic, as William Friedkin said. But the way films are written now, it's just trash. So yeah, watch old films. But yeah, Seven Samurai was a great way to start off this little season that I'm doing, this little deep dive that I'm doing. So yeah, over the next couple of days, I'm going to be reviewing all of these films, and then at the end of the week, hopefully, I'll be reviewing the Hagakure, and that's another film actually in the collection to watch. And yeah, we'll just get through it bit by bit and talk about samurai stuff, really. Yeah, have your say in the comments, and I'll see you soon.